We spent 3 hours in the bathtub in a five-star hotel, super luxe suite until ultimate skin pruning, completely dehydrated after consuming a skinny margarita and way too much Diet Coke, a incredible technical difficulty that was all my fault and I own it, plus a confession that almost had me peeing in this bathtub. This is what you're getting in this really unique, fun two-part series where it's an expose on life, on the online business space, on manifestation, on money. We dish on so many things. And one of my bestest friends, Regina Lawrence, she is known as the Breathy bitch. She is the founder of Breathe Breathwork, and she facilitates workshops, retreats. She goes on masterminds. She is a world renowned healer from the jungles of Mexico to Costa Rica to Canada to Zion. She goes all over the place and helps people get back into their bodies and be able to expel held trauma that's been there for way too long, that is blocking you from having the abundance and the life and the zest and the freedom and the body and all the things that you want. Her work is remarkable. I don't just have her on because we find each other highly entertaining. I mean, you've got two Virgos in a bathtub, people, okay? But her gifts are almost beyond words to be able to describe as someone who is a severe trauma survivor. Getting back in your body and feeling safe in your body until you've experienced it, until you've been able to do it, until you've been able to get rid of those like deep demons and toxic energy and waste that you've been holding on to. It's a next level of freedom and lightness and expansion and delight in life that even goes far past anything with money. But when you combine the two, let me tell you, now that's a rich bitch life. Let me start out with this question.
Amazon bikinis together, full glam. Having margaritas in the bathtub. Go ahead. Cheers. Go for it.
What is really irritating the shit out of you lately? Like, what are you sick of? Where you're just like, I'm done. I'm done. I can't. I'm done with this.
In the online space or just in life in general?
I would like both. So it can be one from life in general and one from just like the general online space, online business space.
Okay, life in general, I'm tired of lazy men.
Okay.
I feel like we are in a generation of men who are the laziest. You know, on TikTok, they'll show the Sistine Chapel and they'll be like, men used to build things like this and go to war, and now they make TikToks.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I die for that. That's annoying me. Just in life and dating, because I'm dating so much.
But what do you mean by lazy? Like, I kind of thought men have always been lazy.
No, they're lazier than ever because they have McDonald's on their phone, like dating apps, where they can just swipe and find someone. And they've been allowed to be lazy by girls who let them get away with shit.
And so those girls have now ruined it.
They've ruined it for the rest of us.
You know, funny story. So Mike, we don't know what we call this relationship. My ex-fiance, daddy,
doggy daddy. Doggy daddy.
My only family member.
Sharing home ownership. Like, it's great.
So when he first asked me out, keep in mind, everyone, we all remember he's Spectrum A. Like, he's for sure has Asperger's. Okay. Yeah. But I didn't know this at the time. And how he asked me out was, hey, do you want to do something on Saturday? I'm going down your lazy point. Do you want to do something on Saturday? At this point in time, he's living like on the beach, like rich bachelor lifestyle.
Okay.
And he's not that rich, but you know what I'm saying. So he's like, do you want to hang out on Saturday? And I go, sure, that sounds nice. What's the plan?
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, just, come down to the beach and we'll hang out. I'm like, yeah, that's not a plan. And I was like, there needs to be reservations. And he was astonished. Keep in mind, he's 16 years older than me. This man has been married.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this isn't like a fuck boy. This is,
No.
like a good human.
Yeah.
And he was astonished. I wanted reservations. And I said, and once you have those and you have a plan, like call me back and let me know. He didn't even know what to do with himself. I was like, have a good day. Bye. He didn't even say bye.
I'm actually surprised by that because of his age.
It's totally shook, but he
Astounding.
shook. But he had been living at the beach. He'd been divorced a while and been living down in Manhattan Beach for a while. Okay. Like, that beach vibe.
Yeah.
And
like chilled. It's like Tulum. Like, it's like chill.
right. With a lot of money, like Tulum. Exactly. So when you then fast forward, Mike disappears as one does that has an avoidant attachment style. I was like, he's never calling back again, and I don't care.
Yeah.
Like he's almost dead to me. He was close to being dead to me.
But he made a reservation and a plan.
Yes. So fast forward, he did end up making a reservation and came back and said, I have a reservation. I go, I'm just curious, like, what took you 5 days to make the reservation? A, out of genuine curiosity. B, why were you so astonished?
Yeah.
And he said, the girls down here, you don't have to do that. Is this what you're talking about with laziness?
It's the laziness. When my little brother first got on Tinder, he said, I love Tinder. I can get laid and I don't even have to buy someone a drink. He said, I've never gotten laid so easily. And I have just seen that for a lot of reasons, because of their own loneliness and because of their own trauma and their own codependency and all the shit that we have, they just want someone, right? And so they let men get away with things because they hope that, like, they'll stick around. And so if girls were running through life like Samantha from Sex and the City and we're just getting fucked for fuck's sake, I would feel different. But these girls are like, have their own shit and they're making the problem worse. So then when a girl like me comes in,
who has requirements,
they're ruined. The guys are like, you want too much communication.
In fact, you appear, which is what Mike called me, quote unquote, high maintenance. Because when these are just like pretty fucking basic standards.
Basic things like you asked me on a date, so make a plan, right?
Give me something, a picnic basket.
Anything. And it doesn't even need to be fancy.
Right. No, I agree. I really mean it. Like, I'd be down for a picnic, a charcuterie.
You could take me on a picnic and have a little charcuterie and a little bottle of wine. You don't even have to make it. You could go to Whole Foods and they'd make a board for you.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. So men are lazy. They're lazy in dating, and a lot of them are lazy in bed lately.
This is very disappointing for me to hear.
Like, did you watch Friends?
Yes.
Okay.
But I wasn't a diehard. I know some people are diehards.
There's this scene I always think of with Chandler and Monica and Joey Tribbiani. And Monica and Chandler are finally together. And there was like, Chandler's hair was like flat on the back of his head. And there was a joke made because he's lazy and he always makes Monica get on top. And it always stuck with me because lately I've been dating or like hooked up with men who are lazy. They just want to lay there.
No, that's our job if we choose to do this.
And so then the one guy who I was with who was being lazy, the one night we got home super late or super early in the morning, and I said, I want to be lazy. And he was like, what? I said, I'm not moving. You figure out how to do what you need to do, but I'm fucking starfishing. I'm starfishing Kiki style.
Shout out Kiki.
Shout out Kiki. Her favorite sex position is starfishing. And he wasn't put off by it, but he was like shocked by it. Like, buddy, I've been putting on a performance for you for weeks.
You also have done the makeup, the hair, the looks, the curation. There's been a lot going on.
I get to starfish.
Absolutely.
So they're lazy.
I don't think if someone said to me, like, that was their first maneuver wanting me on top, unless I knew like that whole thing was like getting dominated, like they love that, but I probably wouldn't end up anywhere with them anyway because I'm not into that.
Yeah,
like that's not my style. I do not want that. It's not hot to me.
No, daddy vibe.
But if their first move was wanting me on top, I think I would be already done.
1,000%.
And I mean, it would be rare that I wouldn't.
What would you want the first move to be?
I like a good old standard. I like a good old standard. Start with missionary and grow from there.
Okay.
I like that.
That's fair.
Don't come in guns blazing unless it already started that way. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
Like, you don't start doggy style. Like, don't start with like some crazy position. I'm not warmed up. Like, I don't want legs over the head.
Oh, I mean.
Oh, you have a story about the legs over the head. There was a guy who you told me that like, that's what he wanted. You're like, listen, I do yoga and shit. Like, I'm flexible, but I ain't that flexible.
This conversation with a few men. I am happy to put my legs over my head sometimes, but it cannot be the constant move. And men, they, at least the men I've hooked up with lately, they just want legs over the head.
It's because of porn. They want acrobatics.
I had one guy
that costs extra.
It literally costs extra. This guy woke me up at 4 a.m. We started hooking up. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. And he starts to put my legs over my head. And I went,
that's the story. That's the story.
I went, oh no. Oh no. And he went, what? No. And
it's like, you put your legs over your head.
It's
like, my body doesn't move this way.
Like, but a lot of men, like, and it happens every time. You think you're having this nice, wholesome missionary sex, and then all of a sudden they start pulling the knees up.
You're like, here it goes.
And then they pull the other calf up, and then all of a sudden you're fucking split. I'm like, okay, like, and that's fine sometimes, but all the time.
I gotta be honest, if my hamstrings are tight and that move is happening, I mean, something bad could happen. I mean, something could pop. I could pop something.
I worry about that.
I mean, I don't know. It might not go well.
I worry about
that. And I'm like moderately flexible.
And lazy because I'm over here.
You're
being fucking Tanya Harding, or no, she was a figure skater.
That's the most random reference. That's the one who like murdered someone, isn't it?
Someone.
I'm dying.
Wait, who's a famous gymnast? I'm blanking.
This is very entertaining.
But like, I'm over here being an Olympic level gymnast, and you were just pumping away.
Yeah, and with no regard. Like, there's not a thought in his head going, you know what? I've been at this a while. This is kind of a lot to be in. She's probably lightheaded at this point.
Like, my legs are.
There's no thought.
Troubling.
There's trembling so hard.
He was like, "Oh, your legs are shaking." I was like, "I think I'm done."
You're like, that's it. He was hoping you'd say something else. It was because it's so amazing.
We're done here.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, lazy.
So I think the lazy thing isn't just in this situation. I think we have a laziness epidemic
as a culture,
and I'm like, as a society, as employees, people who are wanting to have businesses.
You got to get the weave out of the top.
I'm very nervous about I pay good money for this situation. We have things happening tonight.
Yeah.
Like, we're going from the bath to an event. I think there's like 150 people
There's
there.
almost 200 people going to be. So that's why, I mean, we're happy that we glammed for you guys. But we also glammed because we're going to an actual event tonight.
I have a confession to make. I have a confession, and I was not going to say it. You know, it was like I had weird vibes today. Some weird shit's been going on. Okay, before you go to another level, you're gonna have some weird shit go on.
We need to actually have a conversation.
We do.
We're gonna talk about that today.
Weird shit, and I thank God I have enough evidence. This is my like 5th iteration of this happening that I know for sure it's a thing.
Yeah,
anyway, so I'll forget this. You have to remind me.
Remember it.
You want my confession?
Yes, please tell me.
Wait, do you have any idea what it is?
I have no idea.
I my makeup.
Wait, I have no idea.
You have no idea. I'm so excited. You have no idea.
No. Do you think a gummy?
I wasn't in the right space for our first ever like bathtub guest podcast. Okay. Like, we're in the abundance bath. And I wanted to be in a certain like casual vibe for this very unusually casual experience.
High right now.
Took a half.
Wait,
and I ate a sandwich before, and I was like, I need to like be in a better, like, I just like a different vibe for this.
Was the gummy before the sandwich or after?
No, it was after. It was after the sandwich, and I like, I don't know what something turned. It entered my small intestine.
I don't understand why you didn't offer me the other half.
Because I thought it was going to bring me to like
my life, like we're gonna be on the
yes. I was
like,
trying to get to that vibe, and now I've fucked up. So you have to drink. So that's fun. Okay, so at least I can remember. So you told us what's like what you're over, what's you're tired of when it comes to like the personal stuff.
Yes.
What would you say you're tired of? I don't know what we call it. The online business industry, the healing, the spiritual space, coaching, that kind of shit.
I am so tired of people. It doesn't matter if it's in the coaching space or the healing space, but it's really in the online space, is that all of us in this space are marketers. When you are a marketer and you are building a brand, you get to choose what people see about your life. And a smart marketer says, what are the parts of my life that will resonate and connect deeply with my ideal audience? We can use that for the good. We can use that to manipulate, because we can be like, oh, you could be like, I'm super wealthy and I'm only going to highlight like the luxury of my life.
Like Tiff slow-mo coming off a private jet or something.
Slow-mo, or like you pulling up and having your Benz service and like, like whatever it is, right? And like only showing meals from Erewhon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That could be using it to your advantage, but kind of playing your audience.
True.
So what we see in the spaces, people are showing pieces and parts of their lives, but they're only showing the pieces and parts that are like marketing to their people in a way to make them think that like, I'm so much better than you. I don't have dark days. I'm fucking perfect.
Everything's easy and simple.
Everything's easy and simple. I'm abundant. I'm an amazing manifester. I manifested this. Oh my God. And my husband, we have the best sex life and we fuck all the time. And we do it on our billions-dollar, like
people are really going deep with the manifesting sex thing. And like, I'm married and have 25 orgasms a day.
25 orgasms. And it's like, if that was somebody's life, I would say, God bless you, hurrah. But I actually know these fucking bitches. And I know it's not true.
Would you say the bigger the, so to speak, performance or fantasy marketing, the bigger the scam they are, in your experience?
Yes.
We're not speaking for every single person, but in your experience.
Yes.
In my experience as well, the bigger, it's kind of like, what did my dad teach me? Was it like the biggest talker in the room has the biggest ego, or has the lowest self-esteem or something like that. There's some kind of an expression, like an old-fashioned expression.
Yeah.
Like someone who takes up all the air in the room is actually the weakest person.
Yeah.
In the room. It's like someone who is showing to that level, and you're not seeing a range of emotions or life situations in their content, in their energy, in their visuals. I would call it a giant red flag.
If I don't know a little bit about your struggle and see a little bit of your trauma, I don't trust you. Also, if you're not traumatized in some way and have an awareness about it, because we're all traumatized. We all have big and little t trauma. And if you're listening to this and you think you don't, you have more investigations. We all do.
This is interesting. So I, like, even 5 years ago, I would have gone, what the fuck is she talking about? Not everyone has this, because I identify, right, like I am a true like trauma survivor, right? And so to me, what I see as trauma is very warped. Like trauma to me, like if someone's like, my parents got divorced, like maybe I was raped in high school and my, uncle would say some inappropriate things to me. Like my trauma is so bad. I'd go, I like see you and I understand and that's terrible and that's your experience. But I would see it as trauma, but it's when someone goes, um, I'm undiagnosed ADHD my entire life and I had such a hard time in school because of it. There's a part of me that's like, listen, sweetie, like you don't know what real trauma is, which is not cool. That's discrediting somebody.
Right.
But I think that's where that little T, big T comes from.
Totally.
Because a little T person, I can feel almost, what's the right word? I can feel disrespected
Totally.
by someone saying, I've had all this trauma, and their trauma is like something like I just said.
And also, I believe that something could be a little T trauma for me and could be a big T trauma for someone else, depending on our individual makeup as a human.
Okay, that's
right?
fair.
Like you could have two kids in a household. So me and my siblings talk about this all the time. I'm one of 9 children. And my one sister is very, very sensitive to words. And so something could have been said to me, and it doesn't affect me like it affects her. My one sister holds on to certain things that were said to her. The thing she always says is she had really short hair in the 80s when like that was the vibe. Just like bowl cut. And one time my dad used to play darts and the dart league was over in the basement. And my dad was like, oh yeah, these are my kids, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and this is my son. Like as a joke. And my sister's still not over it. That was deeply traumatic for her.
Okay.
And the rest of us, like, we don't fully get it because we're like, whatever, like
there was far worse shit.
But like for her, like that was
okay.
deeply traumatizing that like
fair.
Her dad referred to her as a boy, right?
Yeah.
We all have different levels of trauma. I have a really good girlfriend who, when we first met, was like, I had a great childhood, I have no trauma. And then she realized that like her immigrant mother put so much pressure on her to be perfect in all ways that it's like caused tremendous anxiety and codependence in her life.
I mean, requiring that rigid level of performance and the opposite, requiring nothing.
Exactly.
If you're loving this episode so far, you need to let us know by sharing a screenshot of the episode, tagging both of us at Regina A. Lawrence, at Project Me with Tiffany. DM me, let me know if you want more like this, what topics you would love for us to dish on, where in the world you would love for me to record my next episodes. And then you'll be getting more of them. 2 reminders. 1, get inside the Project Me Posse business coaching membership. Don't mess around. It's for people who are making from $0 to $15,000 a month online. And you want to be able to have that happen consistently without you losing your mind. This is the place. This is the move. Let's go. All the stuff is in the description and swiping up to go right inside the show notes. The link is also in my bio on TikTok and Instagram. Both are at Project Me with Tiffany. So you can access that there. Second thing, get on my Secret Posse Weekly Digest. This is my free email list where you get exclusive content of manifestation, money mindset tips, and personal stories that I don't share anywhere else. Plus, I am about to drop my only live event that I do once a year. It's my 2-day live mastermind event at the beach, on the sand, in the ocean. You want in on this. It sells out in 48 hours. You want first dibs. You want first access to this drop so you don't miss it. Make sure you're on that list. And that is also directly in the show notes and in my link in bio on TikTok and Instagram. Let's go back to the episode. I've seen so much trauma just
so I'm the opposite of that, where
like,
there's a lot of soap and bubbles in this tub. I know you kind of have to find a position.
Well, I'm taller than Regina and I'm like mostly leg. Like I am. I have a very short torso.
I have no legs. So
I have a short torso. So it's like, well, I don't know how this is going to end, but it's very slippery. We should have charged for this.
This could have been on like,
I mean, we would have to like start like blowing bubbles and doing shit. Maybe not. I don't know. I keep thinking like people only watch on like OnlyFans, like real nasty shit. But I don't think that's true.
That's not true. People go on OnlyFans it's really just about like what they're interested and attracted to, what they have kinks around. and it might not even be something that's naked.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like this.
I know.
Why are more people not taking advantage of it? Can you imagine if I popped over to OnlyFans as a business coach, like kept my branding though, as a business and money mindset coach, and I just fucking showed up on OnlyFans, but like I wasn't doing anything sexual. I was just being me.
Can you try that?
I might try it just for an experiment. Just for all of us to laugh and see what happens.
Because like, you know how people
it could be genius.
You know how people use like Patreon for their private
channel?
Yes,
exactly.
What if like we started using OnlyFans for our private channel, and it's really just so we can talk about whatever the fuck we want, just like Patreon.
Exactly. And so if you want this, like if you want more episodes like this,
Of us in the bathtub,
where we like dish on industry secrets that no one talks about. I mean, we're not trying to like get anyone canceled, but we are gonna call some people out. Okay. I'm not gonna say any names because I don't want to get sued.
We're never gonna say names because we understand the legality of things. But I actually would like certain people to be canceled in certain ways.
I agree.
Like I think people who are like a scam, I would like them to be canceled.
And this is what's sad is when listen, she and I know quite a few who are scams, and I have the receipts.
Scams.
For fact receipts. And these are major people in the industry. Wildness. And shout out Shailene Johnson. You guys have to listen to the episode.
She's really
I'm gonna
the Lord's work.
I literally think it's that good that I'm gonna put it in the show notes just for reference. And if I forget, you guys can DM one of us.
So good.
And we'll send it to you. I'm at Project Me with Tiffany. Are you what is yours?
I'm Regina A. Lawrence.
That's what I always forget. Okay, the middle name. So let's talk about the whole thing online with the trauma. You were going down that path of like, I asked you what bothers you in the online space. And you said, if you have a little bit of trauma, I'm not interested.
If your trauma's not showing, I'm not interested.
Like, you're not like, you don't have to be like having a nervous breakdown.
No, but the thing is, we all have different levels and degrees of trauma. And your trauma is part of what makes you who you are. It's also it's a part of what makes people real. It's a part of what makes people interesting. So when people are online and they're not sharing or showing any bit of that, I just feel like I'm being lied to.
I do too. And then some can argue, well, you shouldn't have to share everything. I want to have a business, or I do have a business, and I don't like want to share those things.
That's fine. And you're just not going to be that interesting.
That's true.
You're just not going to be that interesting. If you don't want to share, like the way that somebody builds the dopest brand is when, and you don't have to share every little piece and detail of your life, but if you share like certain details that make you uniquely you, which includes your pieces of your trauma, things that have happened to you, that makes you more interesting because that makes you a real human to me. If you're showing up and you're showing your cookie cutter life, your perfect launches, your perfect husband. And listen, I already talked about my opinion on men. There's no fucking perfect man. So don't tell me about your perfect husband. Like,
and the more you say you have a perfect husband, the more I feel like you're about to get arrested.
There are bodies in your, so there's bodies in the closet somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? So I just think, yes, you can hide all of yourself. You're just not going to be that interesting. And that's okay. You can build your brand like that and you will have a certain amount of followers, but we get to a point where we only show so much and we have a following, and then you're only going to go to a certain level.
You're not going to blow up big.
You're not going to blow up big.
And if you're sitting there wondering like, why is this taking so long? Like, I feel like I'm doing all these things and putting myself out there. And I hear that exact line, that putting myself out, I'm already putting myself out there. Well, that's a big range, man.
Yeah.
How Regina Lawrence puts herself out there is even very different than how Tiffany Carter puts herself out there.
1000%.
Like, and that's why I give credit like to my sex workers. I don't care what anyone says, right. Like bitches, like they're getting the bag, they're doing what they have to do, and they're in charge. I'm not talking about sex trafficking. I'm talking about people voluntarily doing this profession.
People who are commoditizing. Is that a word? Commoditizing?
It sounds very smart.
It felt great to say it. People who are turning sex into a commodity. You do you.
I mean, like, there was a point in my life where I didn't want, like, obviously my face to be shown. Well, I shouldn't say obviously. I wouldn't want my face to be shown. But there was a point in time where I was like, if I get a really cool mask, no one would know it was me, and I could do that because there was like a secret fantasy of wanting to have like an account like that.
Totally.
But I wouldn't want people to know it, which would make it almost even hotter to me.
Yeah.
And then like be like come up with a shtick, like some
Yeah.
kind of a genius marketing thing where I have like a full mask.
Wait.
I've really thought a lot about this.
Wait. We're the same person. Wait, I told you my OnlyFans idea.
No.
Okay. I'm obviously not going to do this because I'm talking about it publicly, but this is my OnlyFans fantasy, is that my OnlyFans channel would be called Queen of the Jungle.
Dead.
And in every video, I would have different artisanal animal masks, wood carved animal masks.
Wow.
So you'd never see me. All my tattoos would be covered.
I was gonna say that's a tell.
The tats would be covered, and I would be doing. I'd have to figure out what my kink is, but I would be doing things, and you would never see my face. Queen of the Jungle.
Or they can't hear your voice either, or can they? Would you be okay with voice? I can't. Everyone knows my voice.
I wouldn't want to do a voice.
I can't do voice.
No, I think Queen of the Jungle is like tribal drum heavy music.
You could do instruments. I mean, I would do a guest appearance. You guys, I love a drum.
Oh,
how much
a drum.
I love a drum. But what do you think delights me more, the drum or the neon light whip?
They're really close. It's different energy. Because one is like shaman Tiffany. Shaman Tiffany. The other one is Raver Tiff.
Absolutely.
I think you love them both in the same, but
equal, but they are different.
They're different layers of the onion.
It's a different energy, and I can feel which one I want.
Yeah. But
do you feel which instrument you want at times? Like, do you feel it?
Oh, yeah.
Or you don't care, you'll just do whatever?
I feel into it.
So sometimes
I'm gone.
You want the hand pan.
Sometimes I want a hand pan. Sometimes I want a gong.
Can you tell them the hand pan guy story?
Oh my God. Ricky the Jewish.
First of all, they don't know what a hand pan is. Okay. Guaranteed. Well, some of you bitches are whack, so you do.
Ricky the Jewish hand pan. Okay. So the hand pan is like a steel tongue drum, and you play it with your hands. And there's like each one has a certain amount of different note, a certain amount of notes around it. And you get into a pad. You would actually love a hand pan.
I bet.
Because you get into a rhythm and you like knock on it, and it's a really cool vibey thing. So I'm in Austin. I spent a month living in Austin. I've been on my eat, pray, love journey. Okay.
Except she keeps getting skinnier. I don't think I didn't notice. It looks good.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you. But I have been on an eat, pray, love journey. The love part, I'd say it's more like an eat, pray, sex journey. And I go to Austin and I go on a dating app and I meet this guy named Ricky. And one of his videos is him playing the handpan.
Like on the dating site.
Like on the dating site. A video is him playing the handpan, and a video on my profile is me playing the sound bowls. Okay. And he's super cute. And he'll listen to this. He's going to listen to this episode and he's going to crack up because he knows I call him this and he'll love this. And so I see him on the dating app and we start chatting and he's like, let's text. And so we start texting, and for our first date, he recommends, do you want to go have coffee at this little cafe and play the handpan? No. He says, do you want to do breath work and play the handpan?
This is dating in Austin, Texas.
Is dating in Austin. So our first date, we don't play the handpan. We end up drinking wine and having a great conversation. And he asks me to hang out the next day. So the next day he invites me over. I go over to his beautiful home, and he has like 17 million different handpans. Like every time he's
the handpan hoarder.
And there's a lot of bros in the spiritual. It's like a stereotype in the spiritual,
like with the man bun.
With they drive a Subaru, they have a man bun. They wear like the Sarah, the spiritual influencer hats for men, and they play the handpan.
Yes, but there are the hat that I talk about. That hat that's a required part of Sarah, the spiritual influencer. There's a male version of the hat, and there are a lot of them in Tulum, and a lot of them in Austin.
A lot of them,
and I don't see them on the loose in Los Angeles.
No, it's very specific. Tulum and Austin, they're everywhere. So this guy has all these hand pans. And so we end up having this dope date. He opens a bottle of wine. Wait, what's the sequence of events? He opens a bottle of wine. And then he says, "Do you want to play the handpan?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So we sat and jammed out on the handpan.
Amazing.
He's actually like he's taken
like
lessons.
He's an artist.
Like he's an artist.
Well, he better. He has 300 of them.
And
Be worried.
the funny thing about this guy is like he owns a very successful company as an entrepreneur, but he found his passion and love for the handpan. And his dream, his dream is to busk on the streets and to play the handpan, which is also just so cool because he did that in Tulum, and he's so unassuming that he's so successful. So we play the handpan, and then we do a little breath work. I guide him through a little breath work session, and then he leans over and gives me the biggest hug. It was like the sweetest thing ever. And then we went and had street tacos. He goes, "I know the best taco place." And as we're driving there, we're driving in his Audi, and I'm saying that because he goes, "I know the best taco place. It's at the gas station."
Wow.
He drives me to the gas station. There's this amazing little taco hut. Nobody speaks English. We have the best street tacos. And then we went back to his house and made out. And then I left.
Ricky, the Jewish handpan player. But I gotta say, why I think he can do stuff like that and get away with it, and why we think it's endearing, is because he's so successful. Number one. Number two, would you say the more successful the entrepreneur, genuinely successful, the more unwell they are in the mind?
Yeah.
I.e. Elon Musk.
And I think like for him, like he was like putting the pedal to the metal, building the business.
That's what I mean.
Building the business. And then all of a sudden he was like, fuck it. And he had a big spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And he was just like, yeah, I want to work hard and I want to have a successful business, but I want to love my life. And he's a super.
Why can't you do both?
You can.
Like I told you about my dentist. He went to the same DJ school as you in Tulum. And this dentist is amazing. I mean, I don't even know, like I think his name is even Brad. It's like so on brand, but he's like older, but like a hot older.
I love Brad.
A hot older. And he literally is like, and this guy has made so much money. Like he owns like multiple houses down in Manhattan Beach.
Okay.
And he showed me his app. He showed me his Tinder app or whatever, like his bio, or maybe it was Bumble. But anyway, he showed it to me. What do you think he's featuring in his pictures? There's nothing about him being a dentist, like, and not just a dentist, but like owns many, many practices, like his profession is DJ. I'm like,
fucking dope.
And you know what? I'm here for it.
I'm here for it.
I think that's what people do who actually are really successful.
I think
they're not back to the private jet thing and like the fantasy marketing and like how you're sick of that. I've always been sick of that. But what's so cool is actually the opposite of what these people are doing. It's the opposite. I think that's why my brand took off when I went to another level of zero fucks. Mm-hmm. And I really showed up like as is, like even when it's really not to my favor, like where I've lost like a lot of followers and email unsubscribes.
It's like confusing to people. We still live in a society where we want to put people in a box so we can understand them. If you're a successful female business coach, you look like this, you talk like this, you dress like this. And it's really just like, we like to compartmentalize things so we can understand them, right? This is like such a weird thing to say, but like, why do we give diagnoses, right? Like you have this disease. What is a disease? It's really just a bunch of symptoms put together. And we give it a name.
By the way,
we put it in a box.
That's something we do at my other company that like we did for years. No, like literally there are people who make up names for drugs.
But we like that as humans, right? So you as a business coach are supposed to look, sound, and be a certain way. You as a doctor,
a Jewish doctor at that.
Yeah, like
right?
He's held to a standard to
absolutely
look and show up a certain way.
As a Jewish man and as a doctor. Absolutely. Like my dentist is probably like 60, 65, but looks 50.
And like, especially for him, a man 60, 65 to do that's like, breaking the mold on his generation.
Absolutely.
Because-
I was shook
Yeah.
that he did it. Like it really, I mean, it surprised me.
It just makes him so fun. It's just
He's so fun.
it's so
And it didn't make me go, and he's very like pro plant medicine, like but it didn't make me go, oh, I probably shouldn't get like my
No.
teeth checked here. Like this guy's like probably parties a little bit. He's a
Yeah.
little whack. I mean, he is whack. It made me tell everybody about him
Yeah.
in Manhattan Beach and Hermosa Beach.
Totally.
Everybody.
He's just like
He's a person. He's a
person.
human. He actually delighted in his job. He does not have to work.
Uh-huh.
This is why people love like coming to your retreats, working with you, working with me. Like why you guys listen to my show, which you're absolutely have to be listening to Regina's show. Well, in fact, we're going to force you to.
Yeah.
You're going to be really mad, but we have to do it. What the fuck was I saying? Oh, it's such a good rant.
You were talking about how like this is why people like,
oh, they want a human.
Yeah.
Like this is a real person. It's
Uh-huh.
so refreshing to like, so whatever, ask yourself, like whatever it is you're like annoyed by and you're done with in like general life, what you're done with in your particular industry, fucking do the opposite and your shit will be rich.
Yeah.
If I boil down this entire brand to like basically a sentence, I just said the sentence. And that was on purpose. That wasn't by chance.
Yeah.
I was watching, scrolling when I was sick too. And this goes to our point about like how a lot of wild shit happens right before you get the thing that you want.
My
okay.
God,
Like a lot of it. And so
I can't remember that.
but I don't remember what I just said just now, where I was going with it. I was impressed. And by the way, one of the other things I looped in and remembered, I had been saying one word on repeat in my head, like probably 200 times. You can't forget this. Regina's going to be impressed. You can't forget this. And I didn't. I'm like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I was like, we got to tie it back in. But I know you guys also love when this is how conversations go when you're with your fucking friend, when you're with your people.
This is literally how we have
conversations. This is not like performative or like special. The only
we have no notes.
Right? Like this is what happens when you're with the right people. This is a good point. You will not be able to attract your people, because I know what happens when people see like our energy together. When people see my energy with Brenda, certain people, that triggers people. Yeah. Because they want that and they don't even believe it exists or it can happen. Sometimes I get triggered by seeing people's like love relationships. Yeah. It's in my opinion, it's no different with friendships, right? Yeah. People, what you want so badly, sometimes it's hard to fucking see. Yeah. Which is another fun way of figuring out what you want.
Absolutely.
Because it's what other people have where it like really bothers you. I have no idea. I love you. I have no point now. You threw me off by acknowledging that I remembered. I'm so excited about it. Now I can't remember. I think the most exciting moment was when I said I had a confession. I was like, and then at one point I go, God, if I keep going with this, she's gonna think I like shit in the bathtub. Are you sure?
Because if you shat yourself in the bathtub, you would have told me as soon as I got here. I think I feel very confident about that. Oh my God. Wait, what was it? I really wanted to talk about it.
I think what we were going after is that the very thing that you think you need to be in your industry to be successful is actually you need to be the opposite.
That came back.
Right?
No.
The thought
came back. It's the things as you're hitting the next level of ascension, all the shit starts to come at you. And so we started to have this conversation today because the two of us and then our third friend, Brenda, are at this phase of our life where we're each coming up to our own next level. And whenever you come up to the next level, for you to make space energetically for things to come in, you have to let go of things that don't serve you need to fall away. And we were cracking up because it's like it's like bugs flying at the windshield when you're driving. It's like it's crazy. And we wanted to talk about it because I think a lot of times when you're coming up to the next level, you feel all of that resistance.
Yeah.
And then the resistance makes you think like, am I supposed to be even doing this? Like, am I doing the right thing? Like, my whole world is falling apart. Well, yeah, bitch, your whole world is supposed to fall apart so you can have a new world.
Exactly. And we forget that part. I forget it too. And then once I'm in it and enough bugs hit the windshield where I'm like, okay, now this is like almost comical.
Yeah.
Then I go, this is a good sign.
Yeah.
But I have an evidence bank of it. And
Me
so
too.
do you.
Me too.
So, but what I didn't used to.
No.
So what the fuck did we do when we didn't have the evidence for ourselves that we knew all this wild shit that's happening? It's actually a good thing. We need to take a brief break to get your head back in the game. You want to have a rich babe summer. You want to have thousands and thousands of fresh, excited people following you, eager and excited to want to see what you have to buy. And your content is converting all throughout the night, like little salespeople doing your work for you. So you can be busy creating and helping your clients and doing other things, but you're not sure exactly how to do it. You feel like you've tried so much stuff and nothing seems to be sticking. Well, that's because you have not learned my emotional based sales techniques. We do not sell, we do not create content, we do not position or package or present our offers using any manipulative tactics or fantasy marketing. We do it by connecting deeply emotionally to our ideal clients. This is a skill set that'll pay you back literally for decades. In fact, Forbes has ranked this the second highest income generating skill that you can learn for the second year in a row. And that is the art of being able to do this type of content creating, copywriting, being able to put out digital, physical, or service based offers, but you have to know how to market the damn thing. And that is exactly what I teach you inside my Project Me Posse business coaching membership. You get weekly live trainings from me and other special guest experts. Plus, we have started our summer Posse sale early because I know you want to get to it. And you get my content creation made easy course bundle for free when you join. And this includes my exact profitable content planner, a detailed video training to get you started right away so you're no longer wasting your time or posting and hoping, fill in the blank caption templates. This normally retails for several $100s. When you sign up for our annual membership option, you get 2 months for free, plus my Nail Your Niche Masterclass and my Instagram bio optimizer, so your ideal clients can easily find you. You're getting $1,000 of Lux gifts for free when you choose that option. Come see why this is the most famous online business membership in the industry, where my Posse members literally stay in there 4 years. Go to projectmewithtiffany.com/Project Me Posse. Swipe up. The link is in the show notes. It's also in the description here on YouTube on Project Me TV. Do not wait on this. I keep this capped at an intimate size. So when you go to the page, if it says it's full, we cannot make any exceptions. So even if you have to pause this episode, join, and then come back, I would highly suggest that, because usually when we drop any form of a sale or an exciting offer around this, it gets popping and those spots go quickly. See you in there.
Okay, so the one of the ways that I have done this is, when you're supposed to do something, you're so certain about it, and you're like, I need to follow this through.
Like being in the bathtub.
Like being in the bathtub podcasting. We knew we
had to.
Had to, right? Like, there's certain things you're supposed to do, and you've made the decision. Like when I left my job, I made the decision. I am not going back to being an attorney. I'm going to make this shit work. I even moved out of the state because I didn't want to be somewhere I could practice law. So I moved somewhere where I'm not barred. So I couldn't practice law in Arizona, and I had made a decision, and I didn't have the belief, but because I had made the decision that I wasn't going to quit, the belief was built, because then I saw like, oh, this is a really tough moment. Me laying in my tub in my $700 a month apartment, drinking rosé, listening to Lizzo and crying. And then I got through that hump. And then I was like, oh, it got really dark and twisty right before the next level. And I was like, is that what happens? And then the next level happened and it got really dark and twisty. And I was like, oh my God, I'm broke again. I'm fucking broke. Like, and then I got through the next level and I was like, oh, fuck me. Is this going to happen every time? It does.
It happens every time. And I still will say, God, universe, angels, like aliens, please, please make sure the next time I'm up leveling, let it be peaceful, let it be gentle, let it be loving. Amen.
Amen.
And I will say this time, I would say this time is a little more gentle than my last. Here's what it shows up as, you guys. There's a multitude of things. So these are the red flags that you're basically, what do we call this? What do we call the precursor to like your true, like a big trajectory of abundance? What's the precursor to that?
What's the precursor to a big trajectory of abundance?
Yeah, like that period, the dirty diaper period, I guess I call it, where
It's
you're
like
in the shit.
soul.
Yeah, you're in
Yeah.
that. So I'd say red flags for that for me. And then I want to know from you what they are. So red flags for me that you're in that when you start saying what the fuck multiple times a day in
Yeah.
your head, like what the fuck is going on? This
Yeah.
is crazy. You start like questioning the planets. You actually start checking where the planets are at. You're like checking your horoscope. You're like, this is weird.
Yep.
What's another red flag?
Another red flag of ascension is people who were in your life and accepted you at a certain level of energy. As you start to up level the energy, they start to disappear.
Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Dude, that was
right.
So well said.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to be like an individual episode in of itself. That's so true. And then we cling on for dear goddamn life for some of these things. Right? Like cling on, like, and God love her. And I can use her as an example. I'm not going to say her name. I'll replace, like, I'll just call her E. Okay. This is someone who was like Tiffany's round the world, like best friend. Like, we did all the wild things together, like danced till dawn, rode mopeds on cocaine throughout Europe. Like like hanging out with a kingpin, like crazy, that friend. And amazing, wonderful, creative, triple cancer person.
Yeah.
But she's also diagnosed bipolar and refused to take her medications. And there were interventions and you can't make someone. And it was really tough. And I couldn't take her with me for even the start of Project Me. I couldn't take her with me.
No.
And it was, I could cry about it now. It's hard to I felt like I was abandoning her, just as I would never want to be abandoned. I felt like I was a horrible person. I must be unloving. I'm terrible. I felt awful. But how long did I hang on? My fucking stubborn ass, probably 3 years too long. I tend to stay I stay too long.
I used to stay too long and now I don't anymore. I have started doing this thing where and it's because I've seen the proof of it. When one person leaves, another person comes and fills the spot in a more beautiful way.
True.
The funniest one was in the past couple years, I had a best friend whose background was in the hairstyling world.
Okay.
The styling world. And she fell out of my life. And at the same time, I started becoming friends with somebody who was in the styling world and education world in a big way. And we hit it off in a breathwork training. And when the first friend exited, the next friend stepped in and just and it was so beautiful. It was so funny that they're both in similar industries. And I actually later learned that the first friend that exited my life was a fangirl of the new friend.
Wow.
And so the new friend came in and filled the spot. And I was like, wow, I don't even really miss the old friend because this new friend is she's going where I'm going and we're energetically aligned and we're soul sisters. And we had such deep connection that it was kind of
This is so well said. You're that to me.
Yeah, I do know that.
But it took two people.
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, I do know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's like when it's that person, and this can happen male, female, whatever. Like, it can happen with an animal.
Totally.
Like when
1000%.
when Molly passed, my first English bulldog, I mean, it was like had a heart attack. Like that's only something I'm sure bulldogs happens to them.
It's a bulldog
thing. I mean, and it was to see a person have a heart attack, let alone your dog.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to see me go into like, I will run over any car and anybody to get this animal to the hospital. And I fucking did.
Yeah.
I mean, insane. So anyone who thinks that like being a fur mom isn't like, there isn't like that level of connection to a human, because I've had a lot of women say that to me.
Oh.
You'll never know what it's like. Are you sure you never want to know what it's like to not have that connection, mother, child connection? All right, we had to take a break, regroup, rehydrate, reset up, and get prepared for part 2. You thought this was wild, you thought this was outlandish, this was pure craziness. Just wait until you hear the tea that is spilled in part 2, and it is on Regina Lawrence's new podcast, The Breathy Bitch. And this is on all the platforms. You can access it directly by swiping up right inside the show notes and here in the description on YouTube. If you are preferring to watch us in the abundance bath, you can watch part 2 on Project Me TV, and we will also make sure that is linked below. Now, you want to experience this in person? You for sure need to be on my Secret Posse weekly digest VIP list. It's completely free because my once a year only 2-day live in-person mastermind event is coming up October 1st and 2nd here in Manhattan Beach, California. Last year, this sold out within 1 week. So you want to learn from me in person, experience this level of abundance in person. Regina is going to be there as well as an incredible practitioner, along with many other members of my team, which literally are the best of the best, pouring into you while we're having fun, because we're not having this kind of fun. Why would we even do any of this? It gets to be fun. It gets to be easy. That's when the abundance comes in. Let's go. So you want to make sure you get on that free VIP list. That's also in the show notes and here in the description on YouTube. It's projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. Projectmewithtiffany.com/secret posse. All right. See you in part 2.